When I'm asked about the common traits of offenders, people often have a stereotype of an offender in their mind. They often think of maybe an older male, or somebody with their eyes too close together, or somebody at church that they just see week in and week out. And I really wanted to clear up those stereotypes. A general offender may have the following traits. The first is they're quite preoccupied with children. They'll always wanting to be doing things with children. Wherever children's activities are, you'll find them. The second is that they have questionable contact with children, things that are quite inappropriate. Perhaps it might be tickling, which we've asked people in leadership not to do, and people within church unless they're family members. It may also be allowing lap sitting, those kind of signs. Also, people who want to take your children on outings and have special alone time, we would definitely say is a concern. And other people who infiltrate family functions. They seem to always be where you are. They are always available to look after your children. They would also raise a red flag for us. Be aware of behaviours of people who are like the following. Failure to honour your boundaries. Maybe you've asked them not to do something with your child before and yet you notice that they're doing it again. Secondly, seeking too much time alone with your child. Maybe you notice that they're often trying to get them by themselves. And thirdly, peer-like play. It's almost like they've gone back into their childhood and they're being at that child's age all over again on a constant basis. A question that I'm often asked is, how do I know if myself or my child is being targeted? And as you go through this training, you might be thinking that by about now. I'd like to share with you 3 main points to ask yourself. The first is if a person is particularly charming and nice all the time. They don't ever have an off day, they're always available, they're always charming to both you and your child. That may be a potential sign that you're being groomed. Secondly is that the individual gives too many details. They almost force a closeness upon you that you might feel a little bit uncomfortable with. I always say to people, go with your gut instinct. If you're uncomfortable with a particular person, back off. Don't allow them to have one-on-one time with your child. And the third one, and probably most important, is a person who discounts when you say no. If they've got poor boundaries with you, you can guarantee they're going to have very poor boundaries with your child. There's 2 main groups who are more vulnerable of being groomed and sexually abused. One is if the child is from a single parent home, simply because there is less to conquer. There's only 1 versus 2, and often a single parent home will want and need more help. And the other is if a child is intellectually or has some form of disability, there's actually a higher likelihood as well. People also ask me about indications of how to know if their child has been abused. I've got a list of the few main areas. It's not exhaustive, but what it will do is give you a good idea. The first is physical symptoms. If a child's been sexually abused, they'll demonstrate physical symptoms, including genital pain. They may revert to bedwetting when they haven't been bedwetting for a long time. And also, they might just have a change in demeanour and general personality. They may once have been outgoing and all of a sudden have become very quiet and withdrawn. The second is advanced sexual behaviour beyond their years. It may include playing in a sexual way or with a doll or a toy. It may also include language that they haven't previously had around sexualised behaviour. Thirdly, they might also have developed new words for their private parts and private areas in their body that you've not used before. The fourth is they might start to talk about an older friend or even a sibling's friend that all of a sudden they're showing great interest in. And the last area is now suddenly they have either money or gifts that they've been given, and that would be a great indicator that somebody is using that in a way to potentially coerce them.